Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell on ET Now, a show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related query. We have our experts joined with us, and remember, viewers, you can write to us on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen, or that will be flashing on your screen. Do remember, each time you write to us, mention your name, the stock that you're looking to invest in, mention that name as well, and mention the buy price or quantity as well as the time horizon in case you've already purchased the stock. In that way, we will be able to guide you better and direct our query better to our experts. On the fundamentals today, we have Sharmila Joshi, while on the technicals, we have Osho Krishan joining us on the show. Very good morning to you, Osho, as well as Sharmila. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And let me start taking a query that is already pouring in, and this one is coming in from Murthy. He's writing to us from Bangalore. He has Canara Bank. He has around 15,000 shares of it. He wants to know whether he should hold or look to exit this one, but the problem is that he's not mentioned the buy price for Canara Bank. So let me come to you, Osho, to understand how is this one looking on the charts to you. How is at least the near term to medium term prospect for Canara Bank looking, and what should our viewer do?
Very good morning. See, looking at the technical perspective of Canara Bank, then this counter has been into a corrective phase. On the daily time frame, the counter has even plunged below the 200-day SMA, which is not very positive sign for the counter. But again, looking at the recent movement, the zone of nearly 198, this has acted as a very strong support. So I'm expecting that on the lower end, even the technical parameters have also cooled down very strongly from the higher zone. So almost entering into the oversold territory. So from here onwards, there is a minor downfall that one can expect, but near about 98 to 100, we can find some kind of cushioning in this counter. So if someone has invested in this counter, one can definitely stay put in this counter for a short to medium term time frame. If there will be any plunge below 98, then that will be a concerning factor. But for now, it is at a very strong support.
Next query is from Vibha from Ranchi. She has around 200 shares of Poonawalla FinCorp bought at a price of 450. She wants to know whether should she buy more and average this counter or continue to hold at current prices. Sharmila, what would be your view on Poonawalla FinCorp?
I'm quite positive on the stock. I think they have a slightly differentiated strategy, and the way they are approaching this entire business is something that I like. And I think the price point as well as the valuations also look reasonable. So I would think that definitely hold what you have. You can take a call how much and when to add. I think do it in a slightly, like an SIP manner rather than adding everything together. But yes, I think definitely hold on to what you have.
All right. This next query that I have is coming in from Ajit, who's writing to us from Bangalore. And Ajit wants to know about Raymond Lifestyle, actually. Sharmila, 15 shares of Raymond Lifestyle is what he got after the demerger. But the stock has been hitting lower circuits, have not been seeing that great a run ever since its listing. With a time horizon of 3 months, is it better to sell or hold? I'm not sure if you can guide him for 3 months, but what's your take on Raymond Lifestyle?
So I would think that if you have 3 months, then it makes a lot of sense to exit, because I don't think that this is the kind of stock that you can expect, that any positive that's going to come is going to come in 3 months. And the only thing that will change in 3 months is that you will have your full wedding season, and you could maybe hear something from the management in terms of how that plays out for them. According to me, a better sort of stock in the same sort of related space is Aditya Birla Fashion. So that, I think, maybe to my mind, that makes more sense to sort of switch to that. But again, that's not a 3-month recommendation.
The next query is coming in from Ashok Kumar from Mumbai. He has purchased 500 shares of MRPL at a price of 250 rupees. He wants to know the outlook for this counter. He's a long-term investor. Sharmila, your view on MRPL?
Honestly, I don't like this overall refinery and oil as a space. I think maybe you should take a technical view on this.
MRPL?
We'll have seen a breakdown from the zone of approximately 200 odd levels. So I'm expecting that there can be further correction that can be seen, because on technical front, again, this counter has also seen a plunge below 200-day SMA. So there can be some kind of struggle to again surpass the same levels. But on the lower end, the initial support or the intermediate support is approximately around the zone of 175 to 178. So if it goes towards 178, then one can try to accumulate it, but in a very staggered manner and in a very low quantity. The trend reversal will comes only once it surpasses the zone of 205 on a closing manner on daily time frame.
Right, this one's coming from RJ, who's writing to us from Vizag, has 36 shares of ACC at a price of 1,873 rupees per share, as well as 7 shares of Bajaj Holdings at the levels of 9,420 rupees per share. What's your take, Sharmila? What should he do in both of these counters? Should he stay put? Because he's making healthy gains in both of these counters.
So, as far as the holding companies is concerned, there is going to be some change that's going to come about in October. But to my mind, it will perhaps not affect Bajaj Holdings too much, and it's a positive change in any case. So, even if if there is some the way the stock reacts, I'm sure it would be a positive reaction. And ACC, I mean, in a completely different sort of, we are talking of cement as a sector, which again is a sector I like, and ACC within that is a very decent stock. So, I mean, it's a definite hold really from me for both.
It's from Sudha, and it's for you, Osho. She is holding 4 public sector banks: Bank of Maharashtra, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, and PNB. Currently, she is incurring a loss of nearly 15 to 20% on these 4 banks. She wants to know whether should she continue to hold this counter or exit.
See, overall, the public sector banks are undergoing some kind of corrective phase for the time being. But if someone is having a vision of long-term perspective, then we can see a very strong movement in the coming future. But for the time being, majority of the counters which you have taken the name of are into a corrective phase. So there can be some kind of further consolidation or sideways movement in these counters for short-term perspective. But for longer time horizon, one can definitely step foot in these counters and one can see a decent up move from medium to long term time frames.
This is coming from Gotham from Mumbai. He wants to know whether it's right time to buy ABSL AMC or, for the matter of fact, Glenmark Pharma for a period of around 1.5 to 2 years. What's your take, Sharmila? How does ABSL and AMC stack up? ABSL AMC and Glenmark Pharma stack up to you on the fundamentals for at least an investment for a period of 1.5 to 2 years?
I think if you're talking of 2 year horizon, both look reasonable to me. So yes, I think you can, if you have them, keep holding them. Or you could buy at this price as well, and with a 2-year horizon.
Okay. The next query is coming from Mr. Nayak. He's a long-term investor. He holds 250 shares of Tata Motors, bought at an average price of 560. He wants to know whether should he book profits here or continue to hold this counter or buy more shares. Sharmila, your view on Tata Motors?
You should buy more because obviously that merger thing is going to happen, DVR with Tata Motors, etc. So you are going to, as a DVR holder, I know that I still haven't received shares in my Demat account. So that could put some pressure on the stock price, once that happens. But overall, I think you should continue to hold what you have.
All right, this next one is coming in from Bindu, who wants to know about medium to long term view actually, Sharmila. One is IDFC First Bank, the other one is Yes Bank. I'm not sure if Bindu has already purchased these counters or is looking at purchasing these counters. What's your take coming in on fundamentals for IDFC First Bank or Yes Bank? Do you think it makes sense to get invested in these one?
So IDFC First Bank, yes, that's a definite yes, because I think the way the numbers that they have delivered as well as their strategy that they had sort of outlined a couple of quarters back. Now you are seeing that play out. So the stock is in a bit of a consolidation sort of period, which is a great thing. So IDFC First Bank is a definite yes from my point, from me. Coming to Yes Bank, I'm a little, it's a little risky, but the worst risk according to me is over because you do have a large investor in the form of SBI in it now. But this is not a situation that can really play out for too long. So, what is the exit strategy and how things play out going forward is something really that is still up in the air. So, that's a bit of a risk. So, if you're willing to take that risk, then yes, go with Yes Bank. But IDFC First Bank, I think, I'm relatively more confident. And that's, again, both are long-term plays, but that's basically the way I look at both.
Okay, the next query is from Sangeeta. She is holding 20 shares of Shipping Corporation of India, bought at a price of 320. She wants to know whether should she add more on the current market price or sell. Osho, any view on Shipping Corp?
See, SCI is into a corrective phase for the time. There has been a consolidation and the counter has also seen some kind of corrective phase from the zone of nearly 260 towards 245 now. So there can be further correction in this counter, but on the lower end, the support lies around the zone of 230. And even on the technical front, majority of the indices have seen a very strong cool off and they are nearing the oversold territory. So I expect that the support is very nearby. One should stay invested. If one wants to add further position, then wait for further correction near around 230 30-35 zone will be the apt levels where one should try to accumulate this counter from medium to long term time horizon.
That was Osho's view when it comes to Shipping Corporation of India. With that, let's slip into a short break and we'll address more of your queries post that.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell on ET Now, show where we get your answers for all of your stock-related queries. We have our experts today. We have Sharmila Joshi, who's joined us on the fundamentals, while on the technicals, we have Osho Krishan, who's joined us on the show. Let me take this query to you, Osho. Then this one's coming from Sri. He's writing to us from Bangalore. And he has about 100 shares of Mahindra & Mahindra at a price of around 2,800. He has about 100 shares of REC, which he's purchased at levels of 630 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should cut losses, exit or hold these counters. What are the short-term targets for both of these stocks? Looks like he's actually caught both of these stocks at the upper end of the price band, isn't it? The stocks have seen spectacular rally, but he's managed to enter them at a price that was pretty elevated. What's your take? Do you think he should get perturbed by it and look to exit or stay put with it?
See, firstly, for M&M, the counter is has seen some kind of decent correction, but it's not. It's more into the time-wise corrective phase after the vertical vertical rally post the time of in the last few trading months. There has been some kind of consolidation in this counter, but overall the trend remains intact. It is just time-wise correction phase. The time we again witness some kind of a strong traction, we can see a decisive upsurge in this movement. So overall, auto sectors are looking very positive to me. So one should stay put in M&M. Now coming to REC, one must have taken position because of the FOMO, because the counter was already into a very higher movement into the recent period. But in the recent 5 to 4 trading session, there has been a decent correction from the higher zone. On the technical front, it is hovering just at a very strong support of 100 exponential moving average. So I'm expecting that on the lower end, 550, 548 should be seen as a very strong support for this counter. So stay invested or stay put for this counter also for short to medium term time frame. Both the counters looks very promising, and just there is a near term glitch in both these counters, but for medium term perspective, both counters looks very positive.
The next query is from Ravindra from Hyderabad. He's holding 300 shares of Zomato, bought at a price of 135, 78 shares of Narayana Rudhale, bought at a price of 1,184. Sharmila, he wants to know whether should he continue to hold this counter, buy more or sell. What's your view on both these counters, Zomato and Narayana Rudhale?
So to talk of Zomato first, definitely hold what you have, but I wouldn't add fresh because we have seen that this stock has rallied from its lows on because of very good reasons. Because now their business seems to be on a strong wicket, as well as Blinkit is paying them good dividends, and that growth again promises to be good. So definitely continue to hold what you have. But in terms of valuations, now again, I think you need to give it a couple of quarters, see if they can sustain the kind of results that they've been giving, and then look to add more. But definitely, what you have, you can continue to hold. When you come to Narayana Rudhale, there if you want to add, you can. But again, I would honestly just wait a while before adding these two, because in terms of valuation, even this looks okay to me. So both are good stocks. So hold what you have, but I wouldn't add fresh.
All right, this one is coming in from SP Singh, who's writing to us from Patiala, and SP Singh has 300 shares of Mazagon Dock, purchased at levels of 4,579 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should hold or look to exit this counter. What's your take on Mazagon shipyard actually right now, Osho, given the fact that this one also has seen sizable correction with the rest of the PSU pack? Now it's seen some mild gains in the last 3 months. Do you think they stay put with this one?
See, this counter is also into kind of a corrective phase. The vertical rally that we have seen from the zone of 2100 towards the higher zone of 5800, there has been a recent decent correction in these counters. Approximately 50% of the rally has been seen. Near about 4100 is the support zone for this counter. But on the higher end, the traction can return only once it surpasses the zone of 4500 on a decisive manner. So for the timing, there can be some kind of consolidation in this counter near about 4100 to be acting as a support and 4500 to be seen as a resilience. The time it witness a breakthrough, then only we can see some kind of traction. So for short term, there can be some kind of consolidation, but for medium term perspective, one should stay invested in this counter.
Next query is from Chakravarti from Vijayawada. He has 40 shares of Prestige Estates bought at a price of 1,783. He wants to know whether should he continue to hold this counter or book some profits that he has currently incurred in this counter. Sharmila, what's your view on Prestige Estates?
I'm very positive on the stock, and overall, I'm very positive on real estate as a space. And as a company, Prestige Estates, in fact, is the stock that I've sort of been recommending from when it was below, I think, 600 levels. I think 600 used to be my target. So I think the reason why I like the stock is, the kind of geographies that they are in and the new geographies that they're getting into and the kind of product offering that they have. So this is a sector which, according to me, after like a long period of 10, 12 years, we've slowly started seeing pickup in the kind of sales that we're making and the data that we've been getting for the last couple of years. So probably you won't kind of see the gains that we've seen in this last year and a half, but it's a good stock. So you should continue to hold it.
Alright, this one is coming from Thomas. Oh, sorry, this one is from Akhil. He's writing to us from Delhi. And Sharmila, it's for you. Tata Chemicals, 400 shares at a price of around 920 rupees per share. I believe he's holding on for the last 2 years, or in fact more than that, because he's saying the stock has not seen much gains, though it has seen some gains, but not much according to him. So what should he do now with Tata Chemicals? Look to exit this one, stay put, add some more?
So I think hold what you have, and one of the reasons I think the stock did correct was when you got sort of negative news on soda ash prices globally, and that sort of would have an impact on the stock, and we did see that correction. But my overall sense is that chemicals as a space is once again a sector that we should be looking at going forward, because there has been sort of that consolidation phase that we were seeing. A lot of the issues that we were seeing are now sort of on the way of getting sorted in terms of the inventories they had, the price issues, etc. So probably there are other stocks that could do better, because because Tata Chemicals never really did badly as such in terms of numbers, but soda ash prices did impact it. So I think continue to hold what you have, but probably don't add.
The next query is from Punit Saxena from Ghaziabad. He has purchased few shares of Divi's Lab at a price of 4,400. He wants to know what is the next 3 months target on this. And the second one he has is Ola Electric shares. He bought it at an IPO price of 76. He wants to know whether should he continue to hold this counter also for the next 3 months. Osho, any view on Divi's Lab and Ola?
Firstly, for Divi's Lab, this counter is very positive, has seen a very strong breakout around the zone of 5,200 on the weekly time frame. So I expect that from here onwards, there can be some decent momentum that can be seen in Divi's Lab in the coming future. So one should stay invested for short to medium term time frame in Divi's Lab. For Ola Electric, as it is a newly listed company, so I won't be able to give a very suffice advice based on the technical perspective. So I will better skip this question.
Sharmila, any fundamental view on Ola Electric?
Well, not a 3-month view, but I think definitely as a space, electric vehicles is something that I like. So you should stay invested in it for at least give it 12 to 18 months and see where that takes you.
All right, let me come to you then next, actually, Sharmila. This one is on Piramal Pharma. We have Thomas who's writing to us in Chennai, 210 shares at a price of around 135. Is it time to exit, or should he continue to hold on to Piramal Pharma? What's your take on Piramal Pharma making sizable profit on this one? Stay put with this one or look to exit?
I think stay put, because they did have issues, but those seem to be getting sort of sorted. Numbers look better. And I think CDMO as a space is something that you can be positive on. So hold what you have.
The next query is from Jesna Begum from Calicut. She's holding Adani Total Gas 1000 shares bought at a price of 880 for the last 18 months. She's a long-term investor. She can continue to hold this counter for the next 2 years. Sharmila, any view on Adani Total Gas?
Well, you would have to sort of have a longer-term horizon in a stock like this, because the kind of business that they're talking of, as well as where the stock is just now in terms of I think valuation-wise it looks okay, but overall I think in terms of its business cycle, you would have to give this at least 12 to 18 months. If you have that kind of a horizon in mind, then definitely stay invested.
Well, that was the view on Adani Total Gas. With that, let's slip into a short break and we'll address more of your queries post that.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell on ET Now. And important commentary on the bottom of your screen. You have Oil Secretary who's saying that the oil companies may consider fuel price cut if crude oil stays low for long. We all know that there's a sharp drop in the Brent crude oil prices along with the NYMEX crude oil prices, and hopefully we will be able to see that fuel price cut as a consumer. But Somit, you track the sector very closely. I'm sure you know the numbers by heart by now. What does $1 drop in crude oil prices mean for these companies, and how does it actually work?
So whenever crude prices come down, it's the marketing margins that expand for these oil marketing companies, because if you remember, since 2022 we have not seen any change when it comes to the retail fuels, that is petrol and diesel prices. And back in 2022 crude prices were at $110 per barrel, and right now they are at around $70 per barrel. So $40 per barrel drop we have seen in the crude oil prices, but petrol and diesel prices continue to remain at the same range. In fact, oil marketing companies are now earning 13 rupees per litre on selling every litre of petrol and diesel, which means that the petrol that you're buying at 96 rupees, 13 rupees is a profit that the oil marketing companies are earning at that profit, and this is at a multi-quarter high. Hence, it is quite expected, or pretty much expected, that government might ask the oil marketing companies to start cutting now petrol and diesel prices to lower their profit. So this narrative was supposed to change and should change, or would change going forward, given the fact that crude prices have come down significantly currently, and this would be kind of negative for the oil marketing companies, but it will depend on what kind of a cut goes through, and the oil marketing companies are HPCL, IOCL and BPCL.
All right, so that's the significance of that particular drop in the crude oil prices. And what would a fuel price cut actually mean for these OMCs? That's your IOC, BPCL and HPCL. But with that, let's get back to taking all of your stock related queries then. And let me take the next query that I have. The next query that I have is coming in from our viewer. Let me take, oops, I think I have missed the query. Okay, let me take this one from Shushila, who wants to know about RVNL, who's purchased the shares at around 154 rupees per share, 378 rupees, 378 shares at a price of 154 is what she's saying. Actually, I'm rubbing my eyes to see the gains that she's made in this counter, Sharmila, but there are some of them who've actually made sure, or who were lucky enough to actually catch the stock at a right price, and there are some who've actually seen the rally play out and then gone ahead and deployed their funds into these counters. What's your take now for RVNL? Should she book profits or just stay put with this for the longer term if she's held on for so long?
So, I think she must have bought, my guess is, immediately after it listed, because, that was an IPO that really gave very good gains. So anybody who got at IPO price could probably be the only person with a lower entry point than that. Having said that, I think, this stock has again rallied so much, like a lot of the PSU space, that it's very difficult to really advise anybody. But overall, it's a good stock. It's just that the stock price has gone up way faster than, it's all on expectations. So now you will have to give that time for those expectations to play out and for, further good news to come. So if you have the patience, I think stay put. It's a good stock. But as I said, you will have to give this stock time now to really make any meaningful money from here.
Next query is from Sai Babu from Chennai. He's a senior citizen and he wants to own a pharma stock for the next 2 to 3 years. I know, Sharmila, you have already given your view on pharma, but any views on Syngene specifically?
Syngene, let me take a quick look. I think if you're talking of a 3-year, we are talking of 3 years, right?
2 to 3 years.
Then I think this is a reasonable stock to have. But the valuations look a little expensive just now. So maybe you shouldn't buy everything you want immediately. Stagger your buying, but it's a good stock to have for 3 years.
All right, so that's the word coming in on Syngene. This one is coming from Sanjeev. He has 33% profit that he's seeing on HDFC AMC, which he's holding in his portfolio. He has a medium to long term horizon, but should he sell this one and book out profits and instead look to reallocate the funds in some other counter altogether? Sharmila, what's your take on HDFC AMC? Because this one was stagnant for a while. It did not see a good momentum, but over the last few months, actually, you've seen HDFC AMC see a good pickup. Do you think now it's time to book out profits and reallocate that fund into other counters?
So, I really don't understand what you will reallocate more than anything. I do understand that the stock was sort of range bound for a bit, and they were enjoying a premium. And then, when you saw that entire merger of HDFC Bank and HDFC, you did see that entire basket sort of just play in a range. Everything with the name HDFC didn't really do too well, and now we are seeing it get out of that. My only point is that this is a good stock in the sense that if you have to shift, I think you need to make a shift into something else that also gives you sort of an exposure to the fact that markets will continue to see greater participation. So, if you're thinking like that, then maybe you could shift to something else, like maybe you could buy BSC, or you could buy CDSL, or you could buy, something, you get my trend, like something that gives you exposure to how that markets will go up from here, and then have a long-term view on that. So from that point of view, I think HDFC AMC, given the fact that more and more retail investors are getting drawn into the market, is a good stock, and it's a good space to be in. But if you want to shift, then I think shift to something like this.
Okay. The next query is from Balaji. He has 200 shares of Equitas Small Finance Bank bought at a price of 83.5 rupees. He wants to know the short-term target price on this. Osho, any views on Equitas Small Finance Bank?
See, again, this bank has seen some kind of strong resurgence in the last few trading sessions from the zone of nearly 75 towards 80 odd levels. So I'm expecting it is still very early to see a trend reversal in this counter. But if someone is already holding it, then one can keep holding it for a higher target of nearly 90 to 92 on immediate basis. The time we witness a strong breakout above 92, then only we can see some kind of trend reversal in this counter. For the timing, it might hover within the range of 20 rupees from 75 on the lower end towards 92 on the higher zone.
All right, let me come back to you actually. Osho, this one's from Naman Deora. He wants to know whether it's good time to make a fresh entry in ICICI Pru Life Insurance at the current levels, or wait for dips for it to dip around 735 or so. Also, he wanted an outlook if the stock could reach any time, could reach 800 plus levels in the next 1.5 months or so. What's your take? Too many terms and conditions in this query, but what's your take on ICICI Pru? What is the chart reflecting to you, at least for the very near term?
See, overall, the trend is very positive. This counter have seen a breakout around the zone of 690, 700 odd levels, and there has been a continuous rally of higher highs, higher lows. But on technical front, the counter has already seen a very stretch moving, and the technical parameters have entered a bit on the overbought territory. So I will suggest to better wait for some kind of correction or cool off near the zone of 700, 710 odd levels. Once those levels comes, then one can definitely try to accumulate it for short to medium term time frame. Definitely looking at the trend, I am expecting that 800 or even 850 can be seen from medium term time frame. But on the apt levels, 700 should be the zone where one should try to accumulate it.
Okay. The next query is coming in from Shashwat from Delhi. He's holding 50 shares of G Shipping bought at a price of 760 rupees. He wants to know whether should he continue to hold this counter or exit, given the fact that all shipping companies are falling right now. Sharmila, any views on G Shipping?
He can continue to hold what he has.
Okay.
All right, so that's the take coming on GE Shipping. But L&T, this one is coming from a viewer who has a good quantity of L&T in his portfolio. He wants to know whether he should hold it for a long or sell in the short term. The price seems to be range bound for long. Sharmila, should I actually come to you for this query, because he's asking whether he should hold L&T for the long term or no? Is it a yes at any given situation, you think?
I think it's a yes, because they have sort of bid for some really large orders, and once that happens, these are like mega orders. So if you get any of those, and I think there was some indication that they were close to closing in on some of those, then I think you will see good profitability going ahead. And as I think in this space, probably if there is one stock that you need to have, it's probably Larsen. So I don't know about the quantity. Maybe if that is disproportionate to the rest of his portfolio, he could look to do some balancing there. But I would think that you should continue to hold at least some quantity in Larsen.
That is the take coming on L&T. Quickly, Osho, your take on the charts, how is it looking? Because given the fact that it's been range bound for a while, so of course you have investors that get perturbed.
See, overall in this whole year, this counter have seen only 1% kind of a move if I have to compare year on year. But overall, this is a portfolio counter. One can definitely see a very decent move, not a very aggressive move on this counter. But one should definitely keep hold this counter in their portfolio for immediately, if I have to tell on the technical levels, then on the higher end, 3800 is the resilience, and currently it is hovering at a very strong support of 3500. So this is the support zone, and 3800 is the zone where one should try to exit the short-term counter. But again, for longer-term duration, one can stay intact with their investments.
Consensus call coming, L&T a long-term hold counter. But on that note, we are totally out of time on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. Thank you so much, Sharmila, as well as Osho, for joining us on the show. And viewers, it's a goodbye from Somit, myself, and the team that put the show together. But stay tuned, markets at noon coming up next with Anisha and Somit.
पढ़ाई में लड़की
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.